Hey folks, I'm Rupali, your host, and welcome back to Crime Hack. Sandy is captured by the gang of goons, and the gang leader is hell bent on killing him soon. However, he manages to escape and finds out that the gang is using a cave somewhere, possibly as a hideout, and also that they are clearing debris in the tunnels to make them an escape route. With more questions popping up than ever, Raj and Sandy rack their brain over why Sandy alone was tailed from college but not Raj. A bulb lights up in their mind and they realize that the new helper in their college cafeteria, who keeps staring at Sandy, might be a gang member and he must be the one to tail Sandy from college. The boys lay out a plan to trap him, but he makes no move. Dejected, Raj is going back home with his friends when something rushes to his face and he screams. And now, Naik Brothers and the Mystery of the Catacombish Tunnels by Rupali Rajapadhe Roti, Part 44. With lightning quickness, he slipped both his hands off the handle and tilted backward till his back rested flat on the seat behind him. He saw something glide past through the air just above him at high speed, and he realized with horror that if he hadn't tilted backward in time, that something would have hit him squarely in the face. This maneuver, however, rendered him off balance, and his bike skidded into a ditch. With adrenaline pumping, he realized that something was surely wrong, and he went into the fight or flight mode. His leg was caught below the bike, so he heaved himself off of it so as to lift the bike with his hands and set his leg free. At the same time, he turned to see who or what had nearly hit him, but the only thing he saw was a cricket bat very close to his face. Then, everything went blank. Somebody had hit him with a bat and it had caught him squarely on the cheekbone before he slumped to the ground, his foot still caught under the bike. His friends had seen all this happening and they skidded to a halt. Dropping their bikes, they charged at the four masked men who had attacked Raj. A frenzied scuffle soon began and fists and kicks flew in all directions. The four masked men were no match for the seven friends, and it seemed that the battle was over within a few minutes. But then one masked man squirmed through their grip and fumbled towards Raj. Pulling his limp form in his lap, the man brought a big knife against his throat. "Drop it," he roared, and everybody stopped struggling. "Let them go." But the three masked men were not released. The man commanded again. "I said, leave them, or he dies," and he pressed the blade further. The boys hesitated, but suddenly Dave pulled off the mask of one of the men, revealing the face of a man who had been mounting security cameras in the Pate area the other night. Sushil threatened, "You leave him, or we won't spare these three." He tightened his grip on one of the men's neck. The other friends followed his cue. The man smirked and said, "I know you can't kill, but you know that I can." And he pressed the blade further into Raj's flesh, and a trickle of blood ran down his neck and was absorbed by his shirt collar. The boys needed no further convincing, and they raised their hand in the air, releasing their grip on the three crooks. As soon as they were released, the first thing they did was to lash back at the boys. Then the boys were herded against a tree away from the road. One of the masked men brought out a bottle and sprayed something on their faces, and one by one the boys collapsed to the ground. Raj was then loaded into a van and taken away. Almost immediately, Sushil and Parag got up. They had held their breath and had succeeded in not inhaling the anesthetic. Sprinting to their bikes with unsteady steps, their heads still swimming, they planned to follow the retreating van. But after a few kicks, when Parag's bike wouldn't start, he said irritably, "Yaar, we should have parked the bikes before starting to fight. Now my engine seems to be flooded and it won't start. Damn." Sushil's predicament was no different, and he immediately brought out his mobile and started dialing. "Who are you calling?" Parag asked. "Sandy." Then he remembered that Sandy had lost his mobile. So disconnecting the call, he dialed 100 and said, "I'll call his dad." Parag pulled out his own mobile and said, "I'll get medical help." Sushil requested the policeman on the phone to help him talk to ACP Ratan Nayak, and when he found him on the line, he told him about what happened along with the van's license plate number. Soon an ambulance arrived and the unconscious boys were carried to the nearby hospital. By this time, Sushil and Parag's bikes had started and they rushed to the Nayak residence. Sushil ran up the steps to the front door. "Auntie, where's Sandy?" "He's gone out. Will return by dinner time." Then looking around for the other boys, she asked, "Why only the two of you have returned? Where are the others?" Sushil hesitated. He didn't know whether to tell Mrs. Nayak about what happened. As it was, there was nothing that she could do sitting here except become unnecessarily worried. And what's more, the police had been informed and the van number had been given to them. So it was very likely that Raj would be home by dinner time. Finally, he muttered, "Auntie, something urgent has come up and we have to rush. And please don't mind, but we will come some other time for the dinner. Tonight's plan is cancelled." She grimaced and then smiled. "No problem, beta. You all are welcome anytime. Auntie, if Sandy calls or comes back, would you please ask him to give us a call? It's urgent." "Sure, I will." And she waved them goodbye. After Raj had left for college along with his friends that morning, Sandy picked up a book and went to the den to study for his forthcoming exams. After lunch, however, he went back to the circuit he was working on and started thinking about the mystery. Deciding to give this mystery a rest for a while, he thought of following the other mystery of security cameras in the Pate area. It was almost 4 p.m. when he left for the upcoming lap of the city where the two men had headed after installing the so-called security cameras. He parked his bike a few blocks from the Independent House and approached it on foot. He was wondering how he would go near the house without being noticed in broad daylight when he saw some kids playing cricket in the streets and he got an idea. Going into a super shoppy, he purchased a cricket ball and approached the kids. "Hey," he greeted them with a smile, and they stopped to watch him. "How would you like to play with a new ball?" he asked. One of the kids spoke up. "We don't need a new ball. We already have one." Sandy was ready with an answer. "I know you don't need a new ball, but I have this new shining red ball." And he held it up high enough for everyone to see. "And I don't have a team to play it with. So I was just wondering whether you have room for an extra player." One of the kids, who looked like their leader, spoke up. "Only if you're ready to field. Today you won't get a chance to bat or ball. If you're good enough, then maybe tomorrow or day after we will give you a chance at batting or bowling. Is that okay with you?" he asked testily. Perfect. Sandy wanted nothing more. He was only looking for a chance to sneak up to the house without arousing anyone's suspicions. The boys smiled all around, quick introductions happened, and soon the game was underway. Sandy took up a strategic position that would allow him to run up to the house every time the ball came his way. He was a good player, but today he did a sloppy job out of it and missed every time the ball came towards him. He knew there was a trench dug up just next to the house. So when the ball came his way the first time, he purposefully kicked the ball into it. Jumping into the trench, he looked through the open window of the house. A few men were working earnestly on something that glittered. There were a couple of singular flames, strings, and a few other indistinguishable things to go by. He picked up the ball, threw it, and dragged his feet away from the house back to the game. The next time the ball came to him, he kicked it to the other side of the house. Here, the kids couldn't see him, and he got a chance to go nearer to the house. He noticed that the window which was open the other night had been screened with newspapers now. He neared it and saw that the screening newspaper had a crease in one corner. He peeked through the small gap and found that the TV-like shapes he had seen the other night were actually computers. He could clearly see the screen of one of them. It showed the panoramic frontal view of the Dagadu Shet Halwai Ganpati Mandir. Sandy wondered what was going on here. As he watched the PC screens, he saw people coming, paying tributes, praying, and then leaving. The street in front of the mandir was also visible. Those in hurry would simply slow their vehicles down, tip their heads in silent prayer, and then move on. A man sat in front of all those computers, jotting down something. Sandy raised an eyebrow, cocked his head, and then shrugging his shoulders, threw the ball back to the boys on the street and went to join them. On the next few counts, he went to this window over and over again and saw the same thing happening over and over again. The more he saw, the more he wondered what was happening. Then at one point of time, he was on the street about to take a catch when suddenly he heard the main door opening and became distracted. He saw a man step out and immediately recognized him. He was the second man whom they had spied the other night. As he dropped the catch, all the kids howled in exasperation. "Oh, you dropped it!" One boy burst out, while another said, "You're so grown up, and I thought you would teach us a thing or two." "Sorry guys, guess I'm tired. I will go home now." Sandy apologized distractedly and started to go when the kids' leader spoke authoritatively. "You can forget about the batting or a bowling chance for a week now, okay?" Sandy stifled a smile and simply nodded. Juggling his new ball playfully, he walked casually after the retreating man as if he were heading home. The man walked a few blocks and came to a brand new jewelry shop and went in. Sandy stopped by the building across the road and leaned on the wall with one of his legs tucked under him. He stood watching the man's every move. Suddenly, the ball dropped out of his hand when he caught a glimpse of a man at the counter, and he was taken aback. So friends, how do you like this story so far? We are soon coming up with Hindi and Marathi subtitles too. We have begun with episode 1 and slowly we are moving forward, so please be patient with us. I know I'm also slow in publishing other videos too. Sorry about that. What can I say? I'm feeling a bit shy to come on camera. And I'm also learning video editing skills so I could bring out a variety of content to you. That's why any help on Patreon will be highly appreciated. I hope you're enjoying this story so far. Forget about my narration skills, I'm new at that too. But don't worry, I will soon become the Amitabh Bachchan of story narration. Till then, please bear with me. We are also connecting with various experts to bring them onto our channel so our lovely audience could learn about real life threats and learn how to keep themselves safe. If you're an expert on crime, psychology, life skills, threat identification and containment, an NGO working for either criminals or victims, or if you yourself were victimized and learned and grew through the experience, then please connect with us. Until next time, keep safe, save others, raise others out of darkness. Namaskar.